I love this place. Not only because it's accessible, but it has good food, it has good coffee, it has a fully stocked bar. I can get 2 burgers for the price of 1 every Wednesday, and I can come and enjoy bucket night on Friday with good music. I'm talking about Nimaro Bar and Restaurant on Bandali Rise in Bugolobi. This is the place to be. My name is Ruby Engena, and this is HR Fridays, happening every Friday on my Facebook page, House of Ruby, and every last Friday of the month on my YouTube channel, House of Ruby. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. For the past month, we've been looking about the job shift. When do you know it's the right time to leave your job, physically or emotionally? When do you know it's the right time to start looking elsewhere? I sit down with the manager of HR Business Partnering at Centernary Bank. Andrew Mafabi is one to sit with. He has a very interesting story speaking about his job shift from his past employer and into his new employer. He will tell us when is the right time to make that decision to look for another job. I hope you do enjoy. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to watch this video, and also like my Facebook page, House of Ruby, so that you can get every information you need on HR Fridays. Enjoy. Hi Andrew.
Hi.
Welcome to HR Fridays.
Glad to be there.
Thank you. So glad to have you, by the way. What do you do for fun, just to break the ice?
Hang out with the boys on a good Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what keeps me going.
Okay, so you go out. You say you go out on a Good Friday. So I just want to know how many Fridays are Good Fridays.
Like 2 or 3 Fridays.
Yeah. And it keeps you going.
That's like a whole month.
Anyway, so this month I've been speaking about the job shift. When do you know is the right time to leave your employer, you know? Because joining employment comes with some, as human beings, we have that loyalty we have to our companies. So I just want to know, how long were you in your former employer, with your former employer, before you decided to move?
Quite an interesting topic. But my former employer did like 4.5, towards 5 years. Yeah, it was towards 5 years. And when you say when do you think is the right time to move, I think so many things come into perspective, so many things. But I think with I want to take it from the perspective of the generations. Yeah. With my generation being a millennial, yeah, I think the thing that comes first on board is career. So as you're thinking, do I stay, do I go? Very importantly is what people are looking at first today is my career development. Yeah. So where I am today, do I have prospects of growth, or have I reached the peak? Have I reached the peak of my career, and therefore do I stay? Yeah. Or do I think I will achieve the highest of my career in this organization? Now most people are leaving because they feel I've grown enough here and I can't get past this. Or there are limited opportunities of growth in this institution, and that's number one. So if people notice there is limited growth for them, they will definitely start thinking of when do I leave. So they start looking for where do I go next in that regard. So career will be number one for people. Then other aspects will come in, like culture. What's the organizational culture? The institutions you're going to get into, and the culture doesn't speak to your, say, your personal values and everything. And so you think, okay, this place won't work for me. And such guys, most times we stay there for a very short time and we leave. Then today we have that aspect of where people run away from their bosses. They don't run away from their jobs, as per se, but
people leave managers, not the employer.
Exactly. Yeah. So who is my supervisor? What is their working style like? Yeah. You have those traditional managers who want to find you in office, and you can't leave before them. Such things. Yeah. Now a young generation Z or a millennial won't work like that. So the management style of their boss, do they give you the freedom to act? Do you have the able to exercise your full potential without them micromanaging you? So such aspects come into play. What is the management style of my boss? People want to work with free environments where they feel they are free enough to. Then things like pay. Pay also comes, it's not very up there anymore. Those days I think it used to be the number one.
Used to be a big thing, yeah.
But today I think pay It's not the number one, but it's also a very big factor. I mean, if I got someone paying me times two, I hope my boss doesn't watch this. But if you got someone paying you times two of what you're, yeah, if you get someone who is paying you say times two, and you see, because of cost of living, there's so much demands on us today. So pay will be one of those high things out there. So how much do I earn today? But how much do I need to run my comfortable life? So pay will also play a very important factor. Now, if I give you another aspect of family, if I shared an example of where I used to work before, the job I did involved a lot of traveling. So I'm out of, say, the country for 3 months, I'm out of here for 6 months, and then when I was single, not married and everything, it was okay. I would close my house, 6 months go, come back, and it's okay. It's fine. I'm not accountable to anyone. Now, problem comes in when family sets in. You get married, and at office, you know, in the next week, you have to travel, say, 3 months. You even at that point start saying, okay, so what am I going to tell my wife? How do I start the discussion? How do I? And then it becomes worse when the children also start coming in. So at that point, that job was exciting when I started it. I was single and everything. But now a time comes where there's family, I'm accountable to people now. I can't afford to be out even for 2 weeks consecutively because of family. And you know, it comes down to what are your priorities in life. So for me, I would say my family comes number one up there. So when you have such a job now, family has come through, you're like, oh, can I continue doing this? And for me at that point, it was like, okay, I don't think I can continue doing this. For how long can I do it? So your next point is, what's the way out? The next way out is to find a job that will keep me most of the time available for my family. Yeah, so those should be one of those things that people look at and say, family, career, your supervisor, the culture, the environment at your workplace, your manager. Those are the things you look at and say, okay, you make a decision.
Okay, Andrew, you've said so many interesting things, yeah? And what I'm picking out from you is people leave jobs physically at a certain point, but you leave your job emotionally. So I just want to know, and I don't know if you can share this information. At what point, because you're in the former employer for 4 years, at what point did you leave emotionally?
Okay, Ruby, now I'm one of those conservative HR people who believe that when the staff brings that resignation letter, I'm those people who don't want to convince them to stay. And it ties to the question you've asked me. Reason is, when I bring my resignation letter, I've gone through a long thought process, very long thought process. So you find someone resigned a year ago, emotionally, 2 years ago, emotionally, but what has happened is they've taken long to get the job. Maybe they've done so many interviews and things have not come through. They've done interviews, got the offers, but the offers are not as exciting as they thought they would be, and that's why they've continued staying. But people don't resign when they bring that written document. No, people resign way back. It could be 6 months, it could be a year before, and due to various aspects, the things we talked about before, someone thinks through them. They think through them, they consult. They could consult their spouse, consult their friends, and say, you know, I think this thing is not working anymore. So they've thought through it a lot. So it's true, I would think people resign emotionally first. The physical thing is just the final thing. I've one of the places I've resigned, I've even had my resignation letter typed and it's on the desktop. So when they called me to sign my offer that side, after I signed, I just came and printed. Actually, I changed the date and printed and gave it there, which means I resigned emotionally way time back. So it's true, people don't go just physically. It is just a few people would go physically, and it's out of a few people resign emotionally because something small has happened and they go, but they're a very small fraction. The biggest people, they've done it way before, and now they are looking for the opportunity to come. They've started now applying for jobs out there, and they're waiting to sign this appointment letter, and then they print their resignation letter. So it's true, people resign emotionally before the physical aspect.
See now, Andrew, that's interesting because I'm thinking it's a big monkey for HR and the organization at large. Because you don't want to have an employee who has resigned 3 years, yet their contract is like 6 years if I've resigned 3 years before. So it's a big monkey keeping the employees engaged to make sure they don't resign emotionally. But it takes me to my next question. I believe before you leave a place, you need to ask yourself, why did you come to that place? For instance, if I come to this place and say I want water and they don't have water, I will leave because the reason I came was for water. But how do you speak to, and likewise with the job, if I joined for career growth and I no longer get career growth, if I joined because I wanted money and the money is not enough anymore, how do you speak to, I'm thinking of someone who has just got out of campus and for them all they want is a job. Whether you're paying them little money or they just want the feeling of waking up and going to work. And you know that feeling can remain with you, because I've seen people who remain with that feeling 10, 15 years down the road. And I've also seen people who remain in employment 10, 15 years down the road because they're getting what they wanted from the start. So how do you speak to me who has just come out of campus? I just want a job. So I've been there 2 years, 3 years. I don't even think I should leave because I hustled to get this job. So I'm not even challenged, I'm not using my brain anymore. There is no career growth, but I just want a job. Yeah.
Okay, an interesting question. I think when you're just starting out at your career, you have very limited options. Because at that time, most people, what you want is a job. Whatever job it is, you want to earn and kickstart off your life. So at that point, you don't think of so many things and your demands are not many. All you want is a job, whatever job it is. But now the challenge comes in when I get this job, and remember most employers are looking for experience. So this guy has no experience, it's just a degree that is, so he will take anything that comes his way. But now when I get my first job, I start accumulating the experience. And then I go back to school, get a second paper for qualification. And then over years, I become competitive in the market. I've gained experience, I have a second or third degree or academic qualification. So I get to that point whereby if they say they want 6 years experience, I have the 6 years experience, I have a second qualification, which I didn't have at that point. So now I start having options too, because at first I was desperate. But now I have options because I have the experience everyone is looking for. I have the additional academic paper. So I have kind of a competitive advantage in the market. So when I get to that point, I'm different from when I started. Because now,
it's okay to start when you don't know what you want.
Exactly. It's okay to start when I don't know what I want. And then the other aspect also I would think about to tie into this is our universities. As HR people, when I worked in Nairobi, there's something universities are doing. It's called career. They have a career section where this career section goes in to provide career advice. They do placements and internships for students. I think we need to start it in our universities here, because when these guys come out, they know nothing. And they don't know what they want. They don't know what options they can have in the marketplace. So I think it's something we have to start here, so that when these kids come out, they know they have some options. They know I can do this, I can try this, I can try this. Now, because they come when they are bleak, when they don't know how do I start. We also take advantage of them. They are desperate, and at that time it is our terms. But like I said, when they get in experience, accumulates, academic qualifications are more now, they become competitive in the market, and at that point now they also start saying, now is this place working anymore for me? At that point they also have started now thinking, my career, the pay, they are starting families. They are starting to say, now my boss. Remember that time you can work with any boss when you're starting out. But now, because your options are coming through, you're also thinking, okay, can I continue working with this boss? Can I continue? You're also thinking, does the culture of this institution still excite me? So at that point, you've also started getting options. Yeah.
Interesting insights there, Andrew. I'm just wondering, you say people should plan to leave the job when they're not getting the career growth they want, the money. I'm just thinking out loud, is it a must to leave your employer? Because what if, you're getting, the culture is good, the career growth is good, the money is good, your family is involved, is it a must that everybody should leave their job? Because I've seen employers who have people for 30 years, 25 years, 15 years, 10 years. I've also seen employers, 6 months, someone is out. So what if I am receiving everything that I want from my career? Every 2 years I'm changing a position, getting more money. Should I leave? Do I need to look elsewhere, or it's okay to be comfortable and stay as long as you're getting what you want?
Okay, I'll still go back to my generations I talked about. When you look at the baby boomers who are our parents,
Yes.
they are very patient people. My mom has had only 2 employers. Today, I think she's 27 years in her current employer. They were patient. Now, for our generation, I think what is lacking is also patience. We are not patient. But if I'm getting everything, then why would I leave? So I think people won't leave a place when they're getting everything they want.
Let me just cut you right there. Is it possible? Are there places where you can get everything?
Exactly, that's the thing. Now, unfortunately, even life itself, you can't have everything your way. So it won't be possible to get to a place where everything is playing in your way. So the thing is, at this particular point in life, what do I want as a person? So when I started out my career, say 10 years ago, what I wanted was a job. So anything that gave me a job, I took. The next phase, like now this is my mid-career, what I want is a career. Yes? So my career, I want to get to the top. So I'll be in an institution that helps me get to the top. But after this phase of when I've gotten to the top, the next thing will be the money. So each phase of my career, each phase of my life, I should define what are my priorities. Because I'm not going to get that employer who gives me everything.
What are your priorities? What are you comfortable with?
Exactly. What am I comfortable with for now? What are the things I want to live with for now? If it's not the career, is it the money? If it's so at that point, in this 5 or 10 years, what are my priorities? After this 10 years, the next 10 years, my priorities might change. And at that time, I also look at what are my priorities. Like I shared with you, when I started my former job, I was traveling, doing this. It excited me at that time. And for me at that time, that was it. Nothing else would excite me at that point. But I realized after a few years, I started a family. At that point now, circumstances have changed. So a job where you'll be traveling and what stops exciting you. You see? So similar here, what is exciting me at this particular point? Can I get it in this place? If I'm getting it, then why do I go? But after a certain period, then realize my preferences have changed. Can I still get them here? And if I can still get them, then why would I leave? Yeah, so I would think it is...
Depends on the phase of the
Exactly, depending on the phase, and really trying to find inner satisfaction, because at times you may fail to find that satisfaction you're looking for anywhere you're going. But then what are those other options I create for myself in life? Today, we have a thing whereby you are going to hardly find an employee depending on one source of income. Everyone has a side hustle. So this is what we are trying to tell people of. If you have your side hustle that is not going to encroach on my 8 to 5 time, engage in it, but provided my 8 hours are covered. So this 8 to 5, that side hustle may create your satisfaction you've been looking for. It might give you the side income you've been looking for. You may make decisions at the management level, and that way you feel, okay, this thing is giving me the satisfaction I'm looking for. That way, I may start my current employer doing my side hustle.
But you're getting your...
Exactly. So it's giving me the satisfaction that I'm not getting here, and it's still okay. So we may get to that point where you can't have it all in one place, but if it's like your 70-30 rule. If I'm getting 70% of the things I want up there, then let me continue here as I figure out what else to do. Yeah.
Interesting. Conclusively, I want you to give me your 2 cents on the job shift. But I particularly would like if you give me direction, because I'm thinking of somebody who resigned 3 years ago. I've been in this job, let's say, for 6 years. And I resigned emotionally 3 years ago. I've been looking for a job, and I failed to get a job. How do I make sure I'm not cheating my employer Because at the end of the day, I have a contract, so I'm expected to work,
deliver.
but I'm disengaged, but I'm looking for a job elsewhere. So just tell me your thoughts on that.
If I'm in that person's shoes, if I was the one, or if it's my a person I'm working with, the advice I want to give them is they have to refocus or to re-energize, because now you realize there's a challenge either in the way you're writing your CVs or the way you're going for those interviews. There's something that is not right. So as you're thinking of what is going wrong, why is it that I'm not able to cut through, you also have to refocus at your current job. So speak to people that can help you either get coaching, speak to a colleague, speak to someone to help you re-energize, because now you realize you're still stuck here. And if I see low energy levels, then it's impacting on your performance. You're going to go through PIPs, and the next thing you're going to do is you may lose your job just because of this. So if I'm in that position, I have to re-energize. I have to find the inner me and say, okay, what can motivate me internally to perform here, to refocus here, despite the circumstances. Exactly. So I have to focus on my current job, because I realize things are going wrong the other side. And for now, what I have is this. The last thing I want to happen is to lose or to be forced out. Yeah. Yes. So as I try out the other side is, how comes I'm not getting? So if I've done an interview too, I'm going to make sure I get feedback. If they say I've not been successful, why? I want to write to these people. I want to go and meet them and say why. So they point out those weaknesses, that the interview is what went wrong, is what went wrong. So that at my next opportunity, I try to get things better. But that is the external. Internally, I have to re-energize. I have to refine myself, like how I joined this, say, 3 years ago. I have to refine myself and say now, it's time to refocus. It's time for me to pick up again and be the person I was when I was joining this place.
Yeah. Yeah. So any other 2 cents?
My other 2 cents would be, I think the work environment is changing a lot. So to us, the HR people, we have to also change a lot. You've seen companies like Google, where they're allowing people to work home. So are those some of the things we want to start thinking about as HR people? If we are in that service industry, or in whatever industry it is, there are some roles where I don't have to be in office Monday to Friday. If I can do reports from home on my laptop, then do I have to come and sit at my laptop? Because now you're exactly company internet, then power, then lunch, then what, all those. Then I'm spending 2 hours or 4 hours in traffic coming to office and going home. So I think we also have to go back to the drawing board and rethink. There are many things we have to think through and say, do we continue working this way? You have the Generation Z that is coming on board. These kids feel, for them, they want to work their way. They don't believe that I have to sit in office 8 to 5 to deliver. He believes they can be home, work from 10 p.m., set to 6 in the morning, and you'll have the same work you would have had for me. So how do we refocus as the HR people? Then do a lot of talent management for our people. Do a lot of coaching for them. Try to engage, do a lot of engagement with our people. Be in their faces, try to listen to them, find out what are their challenges. Then as the employer, how do you help address them? Because like we said, some of the reasons people leave are those things that could be avoided. So internally, if you do like your employee surveys, those engagement surveys, and find out what are those things that are causing a lot of unsatisfaction. Even the exit interview should help you find out what are those things that are causing people to leave. Then you go back to the drawing board and say, these are some of the things we can work on. Some of them have no cost implications. So are those some of the things we can start by reducing. If you see my current workplace, you do surveys and employees say we get a lot of fatigue, this and this, and the next year we put gym and gym services for them. So you find that each branch people have, say every Tuesday, the guys will come and they work out in the branch after work. People say the cost of living is high, lunch is expensive, and they say, okay, can we do 80% or 100% for lunch for our people? So even for us from the shift, we have to start thinking, what are those extra things we can do to keep our employees engaged, to keep them excited, to keep them motivated so that we retain them more. Because remember, these are people we've invested in. So you don't want to keep losing the people you've invested in and continue investing in new people who will come and still live.
There's no organization wants to be established.
Exactly. So there's a lot of work for us to do. We have to also go through a big paradigm shift, change the way we are thinking today and say what are those extra things we have to continue doing or we have to start doing to keep our people engaged and to retain our people.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Very interesting insights there. I'm sure we have helped somebody understand whether they should or should not shift from their jobs. To the rest of the viewers, I hope we have given you answers to your questions regarding when is the best time to leave your current employer or whether you should indeed stay at your current employer. Remember to pass by Nimaro Bar and Restaurant on Bandali Rise in Bogolobi for coffee, a drink, a beer, a soda, or just some good food or a place to chill, a place where you can chill. My name is Ruby Engena and this is HR Fridays. Remember, you are the CEO of you.